Welcome to the IVM Podcast Network.
The interview on this week's episode of My Neighbour Zuckerberg was conducted via Skype as Singh and Vikramaditya Barkana of Polo Factory are based in Jaipur. So please excuse the audio quality and keep listening. You're listening to My Neighbour Zuckerberg.
Welcome guys to another episode of My Neighbour Zuckerberg. I'm the co-host Nabil Merchant. And today we have a very interesting guest co-host. So Munaf is not here today. And instead of Munaf, we've got Tufail Merchant, who also happens to be my twin brother. So it's going to get really confusing on who's saying what. Tufail is the co-founder of Fixie and of Howl. We have him today for the show.
Hi Nabil, thanks for inviting me.
It's going to be really weird for me to... actually have you here because it's like Nabil 1 and Nabil 2, but I think
it's going to be a little bit more about the way we do our meetings together.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a very interesting set of entrepreneurs today on our episode. Both, let me introduce them. Vikramaditya and Jai are co-founders of a company called Polo Factory. Which in one statement basically caters to the global needs of polo players. I hope I got that right.
Polo players and polo lovers.
Oh, lovely. Perfect. Okay, so without wasting too much time, we'll quickly, throw the question open to you guys. So, if you were to just give us an elevator pitch, about Polo Factory, what would it be?
See, what Polo Factory does is, we started off as a company that made equipment, saddlery for polo horses. Eventually, the immediate extension was to get into lifestyle merchandise.
Okay.
So, Polo Factory is a one-stop shop for anything that's got to do with polo, be it renting horses, be it buying horses, be it organizing a polo match, be it organizing a polo tournament, be it managing a team, be it, so obviously cutting it, equipment is our core. And since the past 2 years, we've been making lifestyle merchandise, all of which is inspired by horses or polo.
Wow.
That's really cool. I've never come across something like that.
That's one of the most interesting. So, it's amazing because, the only brand that comes, in my head, and I know for a fact that you're going to be as big as them, is Speedo. So, Speedo only makes... products for swimmers. And you're looking at exactly pretty much the same space. I don't know whether that will possibly change over the years.
It's inspired by horses. Like in horses, there could be anything. Polo is one part of horse discipline. There's dressage, there's racing, there's event riding, trotting. There's a huge industry. It's all around horses.
Wow.
So our core is horses.
Our core is horses, mostly limited to polo right now, but horses is the key. That's where
you're taking the horse as the center of your circle and saying that, hey, how can I build every product or service around this beautiful, bold animal, and create a global market for this.
And the best part is we are involved in the whole system.
We've been passionate about horses since we were little. So that's
we have a farm where we train horses all throughout the year.
Wow, how many horses do you have on that farm?
Yeah, we have we're breeding horses.
About on an average of 12 horses in a year are there at a given point of time. So
yeah.
Wow. So
anything we make, we try it ourselves for a year or 2 years before we put it out
in the market. Correct.
Yeah, so we know exactly what they need, like all that,
I literally feel like trading places right now. I wish I was in their place right now and them over here.
I know, absolutely. We've all grown up riding horses, and doing those rounds every now and then. But actually, I have a farm and I actually been in a business that sort of caters to people who love horses. Is this a different thing only altogether? So tell me one thing.
Feel like
Tell me one thing, guys. How big is this industry? What is it pegged at in India and globally?
Globally it's huge. You've got horses all over the world. Any country that you pick, it's a huge space. However, in India, it's kind of still limited to keeping a horse is an expensive sort of
I'm
thing
sure.
to do,
Yeah.
and it's not easy. Infrastructure is limited, so it's not easy for anyone and everyone to. Except joyrides. That's another thing altogether. The joyride on beach and so on. But learning a particular discipline, getting a career out of horses, being a sportsman in the equestrian field is kind of still difficult. So they're not. So it's not your cricket, it's not your hockey, but
there's a lot of logistics when you come to any sport involved with horses. A lot of logistics.
So, for example, in a game of polo, a horse needs about 50 odd things that's put on a horse and a player before they can go out and play.
Oh my God.
Oh.
So it's difficult. Then infrastructure, trucking.
And every horse is different. Like you have to, like when we train them and when we put equipment on them, every horse, like humans, they have different. Some are docile, some are a bit aggressive, some are easy to train, some are difficult to train. So you choose equipment accordingly. So it's not just making something specific for horses. It's making a lot of things which could fit a lot of horses.
So if you had to peg this entire industry, the products part of it, the services part of it, the training, the consultation, right? In terms of how big this industry would it be a $1 billion industry globally? What kind of number would you?
Multi-billion. Racing, racing is one of the biggest industry.
In terms of numbers, number of horses and number of horsemen may be limited, but the revenues involved
is very high. Okay.
So an average, a very good racehorse, as everyone knows, is highly priced and very expensive. A good polo horse, horse. I'm not talking about the best. Starts at about 20 lakhs. So
Wow.
a player on an average, would have at least four horses, and there are players who have 200 horses also. So in India.
Oh my
200
God.
horses.
So you're saying one player has at least 4 horses, huh?
Yes, at least you need
For a game, you need
for
four
a
horses.
game to start a normal game. You change every 7.5 minutes. A horse, and there's 4 chukkers.
Now let me put that into perspective. So the horse costs about a good horse starts about 20 lakhs. Equipment, a whole set of equipment that goes on a horse, that's about 50 odd products. Let's not even include the kit that the player has to wear. Would cost, even if you're not going for the best, the highest quality, would cost about 1 lakh. So, and
Just the equipment. Just the equipment. Per horse.
And that is that also would not. It's due. I mean, it doesn't last too long. Also, so
And it's keeping horses expensive.
so maintaining the
Maintenance
horse.
of the horses, yeah.
So an average horse would cost you. I mean, if you feed him well and everything, would cost you about 25,000.
Wow.
So
a month.
Yeah,
a month.
just to feed
25,000 rupees a month.
And yes, and then now playing a tournament, a patron would have to put in at least about 10 lakhs to play a tournament. That's just a week.
Whoa. So looking at an investment of approximately more than a crore and a half
Yes.
for a year.
If I want to be a polo
to
trainer.
have these 4 horses.
Now, let me put in another angle here. So it's not that anybody who wants to start playing polo needs to invest that kind of money. What also is happening is the industry has patrons.
Right.
I mean, a single guy just can't get up and
Obviously
play.
not.
He needs a team. So that is where it's all privately sponsored. So
Okay.
So it's akin to Formula One racing, right? I'm sure even the kind of investments that go on there.
exactly.
So it's not, and that's what we are like. That's what our core is.
Yeah, so when we came into the picture, there was not a single organized. We still are the only organized brand that does polo equipment in India. We were pioneers, and we still are the. I mean, there's no. We don't have a competition in India, at least. Though India has had a very old tradition of saddlery, but there was no organized brand. So that's where we saw a gap, because before Polo Factory came into the picture were importing good equipment. Because if you have such expensive horses, it impacts. I mean, equipment that you use impacts their not just their performance but their health also. In the sense, you could seriously injure a horse with a bad saddle or a bad mouthpiece or so that's the space we saw, and that's how we.
Oh, sweet. So the manufacturing of all equipments is managed in India
99%,
at Polo
but
Factory.
we also have certain things, certain skill-based things that we haven't developed yet in India. So certain things that we work, that we manufacture out of Argentina and Indonesia and New Zealand. So.
Oh, nice. So, I mean, just let me get slightly deeper into the equipment. So, let's take something as simple as a horse saddle for polo, right? How many kinds of such saddles? I mean, wouldn't it be tailored for each horse? And the material would range. Hence, it's more like a customized product, or
as
is it
opposed to a standard product,
as opposed to a on the shelf
like
product. I mean, how does that work?
Discipline has different kind of saddle. Like horse polo has a different saddle because you're moving a lot in saddle. You're hitting shots all like on the left and the right. So you need flat saddles so you can move around a lot. In jumping, there's different kind of saddle. There's racing, there's different kind of saddle. There's dressage, different. So there's like unlimited kind of saddles, and people been developing. But what we make is a polo saddle, which is one of the best saddles in the world. We're very proud to say that.
See, I'll tell you how to answer your question. You can, like Vikram just said, you can generalize for various disciplines. So there'll be a type of saddle which is specific to polo, another type which is specific to dressage or jumping. But what various brands would try to do is to evolve a polo saddle into something better. When it comes to customization, mostly aesthetic. Otherwise they usually stock saddles. Aesthetic, I mean, colors, suede or plain leather, things like that. But
the tree, it's basically made on a tree.
Okay.
Like there's a different kind of trees are made, which saddle
the
is
skeleton,
which is the base where the saddle started. So there's a wooden tree, there's a fiber tree. Now a lot of people start using fiberglass, which is way lighter. And but still, the most successful tree is a wooden tree, which is because it gives way, and over the time it takes shape.
So brands struggle. I mean, the attempt of every brand in saddlery, like in any sports equipment, is to get better performance from the player. So that's how it works.
If you could just quickly name a couple of competitors that you'll have in
La
this space.
Martina is one of the brands.
So in India, I mean, I'm very sure that you guys are the only person in India, but this La Martina would be
it's an
Argentine
Argentine brand.
It's all manufacturing is Argentina.
Manufacturing is Argentina, but they're a global polo brand now, used all over the world. But it's a company. The founder is an Argentine who it's about 30 odd years old.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Another brand which is coming up really fast is Casablanca.
Casablanca.
And
Okay.
that's from
Again,
That's from which country?
See, basically the mecca of polo is Argentina. So, like cricket bats, I'd say the best are made here. Polo equipment, the best had been made in Argentina. So, Polo Factory is one one thing that we were really proud of is that we supplied even to Argentina.
Oh, wow. Amazing. It's like, it's a Kashmiri willow, for Indian bats, right? That's what they say.
The same thing like when we make polo mallets, it's tipa wood.
So a particular wood that grows. So that's why.
Okay.
So when we spoke about why, how we not just manufacture in India, certain wood is the best for polo sticks. So that wood comes out of
cane is Indonesian, and the head of the mallet is Argentine. So we put it together.
Wow, this is so interesting,
It's a whole
man.
different world. Like once you get into it, like it's small detail. That's why logistics in horses, because when we play polo, there's a lot of logistics like horses and tack. Tack is the equipment and the trucking of the horses, and how the grooms who are looking after the horses.
management of
the whole. It's not just like playing soccer. So you put your boots on and you just run the field, play and come back home. Then the horses go back and they have to be fed and they have to be they're sick, they get injured, so you veterinary care, and it's like a full-time work.
So we're saying we're talking about we're having doctors. I mean vets for the horses. We're talking about diets also have to be looked after.
You have to, because they get sick really fast, because we put them in the stables. They're supposed to be out in the field running naturally as naturally. So we put them in the stables. So whole system works differently. So the exercise routine has to be properly.
The feed has to be
what we feed them: the roughage, the green, the hard feed, the grain. So they have to have.
So you can control it. So when the horses are, in season when they're playing, so you control their diet for performance. So increase energy-based food and so on.
Yeah. So does Polo Factory manage these horses for certain private some of your clients as well? I mean that's one of your main businesses as well. Deliverables as well. So that's the service part of the business.
We have a training facility at the farm where we train young horses. Which young horses mean which horses not like we get them off racetrack, or we breed them and we train them to play polo. Then they get sold to various players and teams.
So horses become a part of our product also. Also, we manage on livery people who are limited by space or skill to manage.
So let's understand this. The amount of services.
Yeah.
I mean, let's break it up in exactly what Polo Factory does. So you'll obviously do horse merchandise. Merchandise is one bit of it. You'll do horse equipment, and that obviously covers multiple disciplines. Polo equipment, riding, jumping, all of that, and you'll also do management or consulting.
So, for example, a professional team has to be managed. So, flying in players, managing those players,
flying into horses also.
Flying into horses.
They go. We transport them from different countries. We put them in a special pallet, which takes 3 horses, and they go in the plane. And
this is more exciting than the IPL.
Yeah. This is so exciting, man.
Interestingly, what we also do is we've got something called we organize polo holidays for new players. So we send them to so we bring players from abroad. We bring them to the country. We send new players from India to places like Argentina, New Zealand.
We have tie-ups with different clubs.
South Africa and England.
Wherever we're traveling with the family, or once a polo player, always looking for opportunity to play polo wherever we go. So what we organize is wherever if people are traveling to India and they already play polo, we organize them to come here and experience Indian polo scene. And we organize the whole system where they can come, they get good horses, they meet the Indian players, and they get to play at good grounds.
So our polo holidays last year sort of was picked as one of the top 10 best travel ideas by Outlook Traveler. So it kind of worked. What we hadn't imagined, we've also sort of created a new product where this still was limited to people who are already familiar with horses and polo, but what about people who have no idea? So we sort of
like us. We have no idea at
I'm actually looking forward to come to your farm now.
Yeah, we would actually want to come and visit you guys and see what
you're going to make a polo holiday, specially designed for us. For people who don't know what...
We made a product like that, and that sort of is so successful. It's about a 2-hour or a 3-hour, introduction to horses, to polo, so to what it takes to maintain a horse.
Like behind the scene.
And then we put the guests on the horses, and within an hour. So we train certain horses to accommodate complete damage
with other people coming in. Yeah.
And what we didn't realize that it's one of our most successful products.
Yeah, I'm sure. Obviously, because you're catering to a larger audience, right?
Okay, with this we'll. I think this is an amazing story so far. We'll just take a quick break right now. And we'll come back quickly to understand more on how did you guys actually end up starting Polo Factory and the inspiration behind being in this industry.
Every film has a hero, heroine, villain and songs. But what makes a film truly memorable are those great characters like Pappu Pejha, Gabbar Singh, Mogambo, Calendar, and several others like that. Join me every week as I sit down to talk to brilliant actors who have played some of the most memorable characters in Indian film history. This is Bollywood Scene Stealers. Tune into a new episode every Monday on iTunes, SoundCloud, Audio Boom, the IVM podcast app, or any other podcast apps you like.
So we are back after a break, and I was just trying to research more about horses, and I have one question. How many types of horses are there in the world, guys?
There's a lot of horses. Like there's
at least 100 breeds.
100 breeds. 100 breeds,
Yeah.
100 breeds of horses,
Yeah. So, and they've been certain breeds have been specifically bred for a purpose, like polo and racing. They use thoroughbred horses. So thoroughbreds have been bred by mixing various
kind of breeds.
To get to a certain kind of horse.
Wow, man. That's another full-time business, I guess.
Like dogs.
Right.
So, like work dogs, or even
breed dogs.
So in general, dog breeds have certain tendencies. Like a Labrador loves water because he's been bred to love water.
And
a hunting dog loves to retrieve.
Yeah.
So that's how
greyhounds are bred to run.
But
areas are bred to do a particular thing. So horses are like that.
In terms of purebreds or pure breeds, I don't know what the correct terminology is. How many such
exist naturally?
Yeah.
You can't.
So there's nothing called purebred. I mean, purebred would become something that for example, an indigenous breed, Mustang, for example.
Oh, yeah.
Or a Marwadi in India. Marwadi. So you have so correctness. So if there's no mixture in the bloodline, it's a purebred Marwadi.
Okay.
That's about it. But in thoroughbreds, it's kind of similar. So thoroughbreds have been bred for a particular work that they're good at.
Right.
So so you mix them with thoroughbreds. But people experiment all the time. There are mixtures in.
No, I mean I've heard about some of the best horses, the Arabian horses. Then you have the Spanish ones.
It's a breed, and Arabian horses are like they're bred to run, go for long distances. So they do a lot of endurance racing in some countries. So they are bred to do certain things.
But you can't use an Arab horse
in polo.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
So that
every horse has a different job to do.
But and they're very pretty looking horses. But having said that, there's a breed called Marwadi in India. Marwadi horses are one of the most beautiful horses in the world.
And they
were bred for endurance and war.
Endurance, right.
So, and they have ears which touch on the top, which is you don't get that in any other breed.
Nice.
So it's only and they're not anywhere. There are only few handful in other parts of the world which were sent from here. But now you can't export
them. There's an
them.
export ban, so
they are very indigenous to India, and we should be proud about it because people love them.
No, that's fantastic. So, quick question: do you guys play polo? I'm sure you all do.
No, I write. Vikram plays polo.
I play polo.
Okay, how did this all happen? I mean, where did the spark come and say, hey, let's look at doing something like this?
See, Polo Factory is a mix of both our backgrounds. We went to a school called Mayo College in Ajmer. So we're classmates from school.
Okay.
And it's one of the schools, one of the few schools in India that heavily promotes horse riding and polo. So that's where I sort of got interested in horses. Vikram comes from a family that has been interested in breeding horses for a long time.
Ooh,
though
nice.
It had stopped for a few years. I mean, he's the one who brought it back into the family again. Now, after school, I went to college, trained in management, worked as a banker for a few years, worked in advertising and communication for a few years.
Wow.
While Vikram went to New Zealand and he trained with a guy called Ross Ainsley, who sort of is one of the top trainers and horsemen in the world. So he sells polo ponies. So that's where he, honed his skill on horses. And
Right.
so he came back. Both of us were really bored of, he came back also to set up a different career, maybe move out of horses. We sort of had this idea. We always had this idea. We wanted to, take it forward, but we weren't sure if it would be successful or not.
Basically, we wanted a one-stop shop for polo.
So,
because people were always struggling. Which when I traveled around the world training horses, you see, like when people were always struggling to, like, if somebody wants to play polo, they like, I would want one person who would organize everything for me, and their horses to teams to equipment to everything, like from.
So to start, we started with one saddle, which we worked around, and we tried to make the best, and there could be. I mean, according to us.
Okay.
It was very difficult to make that because it was, we were working with artisans in India who'd been for generations making a particular type of a saddle and were not not ready to quickly and change that, and also because it came out to be very expensive when we were trying to put in the best of everything, and everyone told us that you can't sell this. However, we still went on and made it. It sold. It started selling. People started buying within a few years. I mean, it's actually not too long. It's just about 4.5 years. But now we've sort of catered to most teams in the country, most players in the country. We are endorsed by all the top high goal. The Indian contingent who plays the World Cup and around the world. Last year we let out a franchise in Sydney.
Nice.
We've just tied up with a university, the London University, basically as official suppliers of the polo gear. We were one of the official suppliers in the World Cup last time it happened. So it's been received well. Not just in India, but in Europe.
The world over, yeah.
Not yet. We've world over. We really need to penetrate into the States and the rest of Europe. Europe, we are kind of getting popular in England, but the rest of Europe. In fact, so world over, that's the idea. We're supplying to about 13 countries.
Oh, that is pretty much covering a large part of the world, yeah. So I think you guys are more of a global brand than an Indian brand, right? It's been
that's what we're working towards. I don't know if we are there yet, but that's what we're working towards.
So
that's the idea. That's the idea.
How big is the team? I'm sure this cannot be handled only by the two of you guys, yeah.
Our team is about over 20 people. We have, our focus is design. So the largest part of our team is design and R&D and quality control. We're based out of Jaipur, but we work out of Kanpur, Jaipur, Delhi.
Where are your manufacturing units?
Kanpur, Jaipur, and Delhi.
Okay, all the three places.
And these 20 set of team members, I'm sure there'll be a mix of expert veterinarians and trainers and
there are expert assistant trainers. There are people who are there.
There are people who are good in who are great in product design.
Yeah.
So they're design. So it's basically designers and people who understand equipment. So that's the core of our team.
How do you source these guys? Yeah, they can't have. You'll not find a resume on Naukri.com and say, "Hi, I've been working with a horse and saddle, my expertise hai."
I'll tell you, a group who's worked in horses for about 25 years, with a certain talent that, like somebody who's been tying up horses for a player.
Put the equipment on. Groom is the guy who takes up the.
He may never have gone to school, but he knows more about horse equipment and horses than. So using that, leather workers in Kanpur who've been making shoes but understand leather better than anyone in the world.
Yeah.
So to quickly mold them into people who can work in, that's one thing. Then we pay a keen attention on aesthetic design, good design, even in our clothes and accessories, and so that's another that there's enough talent in the country, especially Jaipur.
Yeah, so basically you guys have taken this set of eclectic mix of people,
Yes.
and actually put them together and say, hey, let's put all your creativity and your bandwidth into actually creating products related to the horse.
I'll tell you something. What happens is if you come from a particular field and you're asked to work only in that field. So if you're a shoemaker and I tell you to make shoes, you'll be limited by the shoes that you made all your life. But when I tell you to make a table, you may put in something else.
Yes,
So
which will be completely out of the box.
We are a mix of people. Yeah. So out of box ideas come out of there. That's what we think.
I just had an idea right now. So I'm not quite sure in a sports management degree. Do they actually teach such detail of sports related to horses? Maybe that could be.
I have no idea.
Maybe that could be one of the service offerings that you guys have. So maybe have a
course with respect
on just horses and sports.
We'd love to have interns. We'd love.
This is fantastic. Yeah, I think so. Guys, quickly, what's your vision for the next year to 3 years? I mean, like, where do you see Polo Factory? How do you see this whole business evolving now?
See, we see ourselves as a mono brand store. However, we see the importance of moving digital. We are already a globally available e-commerce website, but we want to grow that website into something so huge that that Polo Factory is the first word that comes into people not just buying polo equipment but equestrian equipment.
That's already a case in India, but that's what we want to do globally.
So we want to be that. Then eventually, we don't want to start off with flagship stores, but eventually 5 years down the lane, look at flagship stores in not for the revenue but for presence.
Right. Nice.
It has to be digital. So
I think digital has a huge potential. I mean, just for the fact that very fact that you're in Jaipur, Kanpur, and the whole of North, right? So many travel trips, specific adventure travel trips, training sessions. Tying up with schools, colleges, developing this entire industry and the sport. Right, into something really big, tying up with the government of various states and India, and digitally, making a lot of global audience aware that India will be a very big destination for horse riding and polo sports. I think you guys have a very, very bright future ahead of you guys. Ahead.
I hope so. But besides this, so when we were talking about the whole digital space and being there, that's all again on the business expansion sort of a increasing revenue sort of a thought process.
Correct.
But what we also want to do is contribute to polo.
Yes.
And horses. So we set up something called People for Horses, which where we're trying to help work horses. Cart horses who are treated badly. Because of bad equipment that they use, so we try and contribute in any which way as a charity.
That's a fantastic idea, man.
That's such a noble cause.
Such a noble cause, yeah, guys.
So eventually, we want to lobby, speak to the government, speak to various other agencies, so that behavioral change can happen. Knowledge can.
Our expertise is about the equipment, and the right equipment makes so much difference in our horses. We want to send this out and teach people who are working with cart horses and the tangas and various other equestrian riding schools. They still have
even how people treat their own polo horses. Like when they retire.
Yeah. Correct.
We started this charity, and now we want to expand this.
Yes, and we still every week trying to find time to do that. So eventually we want to have more time for
No, of course. Yeah. I think me and Tufail, we really want to help you. I mean,
we'll be the first guys to subscribe to this thought process.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's beautiful. Obviously, being animal lovers, we are very passionate about animals, right?
We have a Facebook page.
Of course, absolutely.
Wherever we can, it's more behavioral change. It's knowledge based. We just want to talk to people on how they should treat their animals. And
Yes.
So that's what we want to contribute. And
wow.
I think that's beautiful.
I think you guys have a very clear vision, man. Clear vision out here. Oh, this is fantastic. So, with this, I have no choice but to bring an end to this podcast. Though I would love to visit you guys.
You guys are most welcome.
And more importantly, and we'd like to hear a lot more from you. I mean, I think this is this information that we've just got about what you're trying to do with polo, the sport, and horses, and the entire industry. It's something that we've never heard before, and I don't think any set of entrepreneurs that we come across are so passionate about what they're doing. right? I think you guys, literally
deserve our applause.
An applause, man. So
Thank you.
With this, we'll we'll close the episode for today's show.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
guys, please check out Vikram and Jay. You can catch their company on Facebook.com/Polo Factory. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And you can also visit their website www.polofactory.com. And
Online. Sorry.
PoloFactoryOnline.com.
okay, polofactoryonline.com. And they're the most welcoming set of individuals. So feel free to travel to their farm and get a lot of experience about horses and polo. This is Nabil Merchant, the co-host for My Neighbour Zuckerberg.
This is the Fal Merchant, co-guest host on My Neighbour Zuckerberg.
We're signing off.
That was an episode of My Neighbour Zuckerberg, brought to you by Indus Vox Media and media partners Inc. 42.
My Neighbour Zuckerberg is an Indus Vox media production. If you like listening to My Neighbour Zuckerberg, also check out Simplified, a podcast that helps you seem smarter than you are to others by giving you key insights on a range of topics, be it food, technology, music, or politics. Hosted by Chuck, Naren, and Sriket, episodes out every fortnight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. Sorry to say, but there's been a slight delay due to the apocalypse having suddenly begun. As you can see, there's death, destruction, and chaos taking place all around us. But don't you worry, food and drinks will be served shortly, and I would recommend checking out
IVM Podcasts
to catch some of your favorite Indian podcasts. We'll keep you going till this whole thing blows over. Thank you.